Okay, here we go, Felix.
I'm going over.
A man jumped from the edge of the space? Not for NASA, not for a movie, not for a science documentary, but for an energy drink. In 2012, Felix Baumgartner stepped out of a capsule over 38,000 meters above Earth and jumped. Millions of people watched live. He broke the sound barrier, the internet exploded, and somewhere in the middle of all that, one brand was everywhere: Red Bull. Now, here's the question. What does a man jumping from the edge of the space have to do with selling an energy drink? At first, it sounds absurd, but the absurd idea is exactly why Red Bull became one of the most powerful brands in the world. Because Red Bull understood something most people still miss. People don't just buy products, they buy feelings, they buy identity, they buy the story they want to be part of. Red Bull did not become famous by simply saying, "Our drink gives you energy." That would have made them just another beverage company. Instead, they built a world where energy has a personality. Energy looks like speed. Energy looks like adventure. Energy looks like courage. Energy looks like someone standing at the edge of the space and jumping. That is branding. Branding is not your logo. It is not your colors. It is not your packaging. Branding is the feeling people connect with your business before they even buy. And Red Bull mastered that feeling. But to understand why this works, we have to go back to how Red Bull started. Before Red Bull became a global brand, it was inspired by a Thai energy drink called Krating Dang. And this guy, I'll just post his name over here, I don't know how to pronounce it, discovered it while traveling in Thailand. He noticed the drink helped him with his jet lag. But instead of just copying the product and selling it as another energy drink, he helped reposition it for the Western market. The can became slim and premium, the price was higher, the message was sharper, and eventually Red Bull launched in Austria in 1987. But here is the important part. Red Bull was not just selling caffeine. Coffee already existed, soda already existed, other drinks already existed. So, they need to own a different space in people's mind. That space was energy, performance, and pushing limits. Their famous slogan says it clearly: Red Bull gives you wings. Not Red Bull tastes good, not Red Bull has caffeine, not Red Bull is refreshing. It gives you wings. That is a product claim. That is an emotional promise. It makes you feel like you can do more, go further, move faster, push past normal. And once you understand that, everything Red Bull does start to make sense. Formula 1 makes sense, extreme sports makes sense, skateboarding makes sense, cliff diving makes sense, mountain biking makes sense. And a man jumping from space makes sense because they are not just sponsoring random events, they are building proof around their brand feeling. They are showing you what gives you wings looks like in real life. That is why marketing feels random only on the surface, but underneath, it is extremely consistent. The product is an energy drink, but the brand is human potential. The product is in a can, the story is about doing what most people are afraid to do. And that is the lesson for every business owner watching this. Your marketing should not only explain what you sell, it should make people feel the transformation your product or service creates. If you are a clinic, don't just post your treatments. Show what life looks like when someone can move better and feel better again. If you are a real estate business, don't just post houses. Show the lifestyle and future behind owning that home. If you are a short-term rental business, do not just post rooms. Show the experience and feeling of staying there. If you are a coach, don't just post your program. Show the confidence and clarity your client is trying to achieve. Because people need information to understand your offer, but they need emotion to care about it. Red Bull's genius is that they do both. They sell a similar product, but they market a powerful emotion. They turned an energy drink into a media company. They created content people would watch even if the drink was never mentioned. That is when you know a brand is powerful. When the marketing does not feel like an ad, it feels like entertainment. It feels like culture. It feels like something people want to share. Most businesses do the opposite. They only talk about themselves, their service, their features, their discounts, and then they wonder why people scroll past. Sometimes the content just does not make people feel anything. Red Bull shows us that great marketing is not about shouting louder. It is about owning a feeling so clearly that people connect your brand with that feeling automatically. When people think of Red Bull, they don't just think of a drink. They think of energy, adventure, pushing limits, and brand positioning. And that is why Space Jump worked, because it was not a random stunt. It was the ultimate expression of the brand. If your brand says it gives people wings, what is the biggest way to prove it? You help someone jump from the edge of the space. That is the difference between content and brand storytelling. Content is what you post. Brand storytelling is what people remember. So, here's a question for your business. What feeling are you trying to own? Confidence? Freedom? Trust? Because if you do not define the feeling, your content will feel random. But when you know what your brand stands for, your content becomes easier to create. Your message becomes sharper, your audience understands you faster, and your marketing starts building something bigger than attention. It builds memory. That is why Red Bull's marketing works. They are not just selling energy drinks. They are selling the identity of having energy. And when your business learns how to connect product, emotion, content, and system together, your marketing becomes much stronger. If you want to understand how to build a smoother system behind your content, your brand, and your marketing, click the video on the screen and I'll show you how to turn random posting into a system that helps your business run smoother and grow with more consistency.